Hello, hi, welcome to the channel. I'm just going to wait a few minutes for YouTube to catch up, and we have a guest. Hi, welcome. Can you hear?
Hello.
Can you hear me? Okay.
I
First of
can hear
all,
you. Okay. Can you hear me?
yes, awesome. I always have a hard time with these headphones, whether or not they want to agree with my computer, so I always have to check. How are you doing today, Emma?
I am doing good. How are you doing? It's lovely to see you.
Yes, it is. I was excited to be able to do this for you. I usually when I like talk to authors like this way, I'll just ask them whatever pops in my head. But I've created a list of questions, a list of
Oh,
questions that either people have asked me or if I wanted to ask other authors. And so we'll see how it goes. There's a lot of questions. If we don't get through them all, it's totally fine. But
mhm.
they're there, and I actually typed them up so I can share them as a banner across the bottom. So if people pop in
Oh,
and watch it
very
again later,
curious.
I am on it today. So okay, so I just wanted to chat for a few minutes, wait for YouTube to catch up, let whoever knows that we're live. And of course, this is going to be you can watch it later on again. Do you ever watch your own videos afterwards, or your own live streams afterwards to see how you
No,
do? No?
no, just absolutely horrific. I find it even difficult just to edit my own videos. So watching live streams back, the faces I pull, it's horrific.
So I was doing a live stream with Sky the other day, and I showed it to the kids the next day only because I was like, look at what my cat had to do. Like she was like crawling on my arm and around my neck, and she's like nibbling on my ear while I'm trying to like edit. I'm like, thank goodness I was only editing because I don't know what I would have done if I was trying to actually construct real words. I mean, editing's real words, but like create new words. So
Yeah, exactly.
um so tell me again about your goal. Your goal was to like go on another person's platform or something every day in the month of May, or
No, 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 that would be horrific. That's so much worse than what I
okay.
said. So basically, at the beginning of the year, I gave myself quite the talking to, and I said, okay, I know you find this difficult. I know you're very introverted in a lot of ways, but it's really, really important to put yourself out there as a writer, but also for me, if you like, not the writer, just to kind of get more relaxed with it and be happier with it. So I said that once a month for the whole year, I
Okay.
needed to appear on somebody's channel, on their podcast or whatever. So I had January, I think I did on the 31st of January.
Better late than never, right?
Exactly.
But
February
technically
was
not.
fine. March was absolutely fine, but a little bit too fine because that had been booked in for ages and it was on like the 2nd of March. So it was like, oh, this is cool. And then it kind of got to like the end of April and I was like, oh, like I haven't got anything planned for April and I've got a few days and I don't have anything, further on. So I put a little bit of a call out, done as kind of a short, so it wasn't just me going, to somebody, hi, can I come on your channel? Because I think that's really awkward.
You
But I
you like
kind of,
threw it out there, and you're like, whoever
exactly,
sees it
it
is
was
gonna see
kind
it.
of
It's
like,
not on me. I'm good. Like
exactly. Like if anybody would like to, I'm not kind of asking people individually and like, please, please let me come on your channel. Yeah, and you were one of the lovely people who answered my call, which was wonderful because I kind of feel like we haven't hung out for ages. We've done like live
no.
stream together before and we've like chatted away in comments and things, but it feels like we are due a catch up, honestly.
And I also feel like it's hard, just because like we're both parents, we're both writers, and also we live, not close to each other.
Yeah, time zone fun, time zone
Yeah,
fun. Yeah.
fun. But luckily or unluckily for me, I'm up at random hours because I have insomnia and things. So like I always feel like, oh, I could message that person, but then I'm like,
Mhm.
what if they're sleeping or I can't do time zone math or whatever the
Mhm.
case this may be. But I was really excited to do this. I've been interviewed like 2 other times. Either I've done one where it was like a text interview, like they asked the questions, I responded email, and then they posted it on their blog.
Right, yeah.
And one other time, another self-published author did one on Instagram Live, like me and a couple other people. That was awkward because I had nowhere quiet to do talking. So I went into we were living in an RV at the time. I went to our RV park's bathroom, so it was really echoey, but there were no kids in the background. That was before when I was like, I can't have any kids anywhere in my vicinity when I talk about my writing. Now I don't really care. Like I care, but like I don't like.
You're more relaxed about it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that does come with having done this for a little while, this whole kind of YouTube, social media thing. And I suspect you're like me in that you started off and, I made lots of mistakes and everything, but I did try to set these boundaries. Like, I've got 2 big dogs. They bark. They're like, I've got both of them right by me here. At some point, they're bound to go off and we'll just laugh. But when you start off, like with the kids, you're
like, I need to be like completely silent. No one can be in the house. No one can talk to me. Nothing.
Everybody has to be quiet. And now you're just like, do you know what? My kid just came down the stairs. Like one of mine is out at the moment. He might ring the doorbell, and I'm going to have to say, "Give me a sec," because he hasn't got keys. And then get it. Like
when I did I used to do 2 vlogs a week consistently, and I used to edit all the weird facial expressions or the weird stop touching the cat or be nice to your sister or whatever. And then for a while I was editing them out and putting them at the end. And now for the most part, when I do vlogs, I haven't done any vlogs. I think I've done 1 vlog this year. For the most part, you kind of get it as it comes. I'll edit the really bad horrible parts out, but for the most part, it's this is me.
That. Yeah, I think other writers, they're all struggling with the same distractions and the same crazy things in our lives, and there is something quite comforting when you see somebody who's doing it, who's doing what you want to do, who's writing and publishing and everything. And you know what? They're doing it while their kid is driving them insane because they won't leave the cat alone. Yeah. Right. Or, in our case, we both home educate. So, yeah, you're doing it in between all of that. And I absolutely loved watching your vlogs that you did when you guys were traveling around in the RV and everything. That was just such a wow. Like this person is doing it, but it felt real.
Yeah, those vlogs were very unfiltered. You got all the wrong turns and bad camping spots and all the things all the time. Now I'm to the point where I still have that channel. I've renamed it a couple of times. I'm trying to decide once I file for my divorce and it comes through that do I want to rename it to my maiden last name? Because my maiden last name is Dockery. So I was what if I named it as the Dockery Diaries, because that kind of flows off your tongue. That sort of thing. Not a lot of people know I'm going to be filing for divorce, but my husband walked out 2 weeks ago. So have I done any romance writing? No, I have not. Because the only plots I come up with are how can I torture this character? So not very romantic. So I'm just setting it aside for now.
Maybe if you need to get it out, maybe a pen name. And you could write something a little darker.
And then I'm trying to decide what I want to do with the books I already have out, because they're his last name. So do I want to because I could at this point unpublish them and then republish them with my new soon-to-be last name or another pen name altogether. So I'm trying to decide what I want to do with that, but I'm not doing anything drastic right now. Right now it's just surviving. Okay, so yeah,
but you could have all new covers and things on the plus side.
Yes, I do have. So my first small town romance series, there's 6 books, and I do have covers already made for them. I use Canva to make. That's where I make all my covers. But I had them all, and I really like them because the background of all the covers are ombre. So let's say it's like pink and green ombre, and then the next book has the same color on the side. So if you lay them all across,
Oh,
it
cute.
like match. So it's really cool.
Oh.
I'll have to show it to you sometime and let you, and you can
Mhm.
tell me what you think, because you helped me with some other covers I've had with like letter
Yes.
placement and stuff like that, and that was very
Mhm.
helpful. So I'm just trying to decide, and I'm just taking a pause and like just waiting,
Mhm.
just I did email Amazon, and I do have 3 like short, like RV park style romances
Mhm.
coming up, but in August, September, October, and those books are all only ebook version, so I can like
Mhm.
change the author name now. It would
Yeah,
be
yeah, sure.
different if I already had paperbacks already uploaded.
Sure.
So
Sure.
anyways, so I was
That's
just concerned about
exciting.
like losing my pre-order status for another year, because that'd be horrible.
Yeah.
But didn't want to talk about me too much. I'm always like chattering
No, but
away.
that's fun. But I'm wanting to catch up with you as well. And I think
Well,
that's interesting. And I
so
didn't know that you had all these novellas out and you could put the 3 together into a paperback.
that's true. Yes. So by the end of this year, with the
Mhm.
books I have scheduled to come out, there will be a whole 18 of them. But
That is
what
nice.
happened was, like, during the summer, I'm in Texas, if people don't know, like,
Mhm.
over the summer, I died in front of my AC, so I
Mhm.
would just chat into my Google Docs all the time, like,
Right.
voice to text, and so I just kept on, like, jabbering, like, "Oh, how about we do this in this chapter?" I was kinda, like, just telling the chapters, like, as a story of it, talking to someone. I wouldn't be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I really like your eyes, or I want to be like open quote, I really like your eyes, close quote, she said, or whatever. Like it wasn't
Mhm.
like that. It was
Yeah.
very just like me telling the story as if I was talking to my best friend. And
Mhm.
then I spent like 3 horribly long months making sense of it all and like editing
Mhm.
the crap out of it. I don't like editing. I don't know why I did that to myself. So all right. I think I have, let's see how many questions I got here. I have a few. All right.
Mhm.
So let's start with let's start with I don't know how to start it. Let's just start with the first question, shall we? How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what drew you to romance as your genre, and when did you know you wanted to be a writer?
Oh, okay. Romance, just because it's my favorite genre to read. I do read lots of different genres, but romance will probably be what I come back to. Generally contemporary romance, but some historical as well. And also, when I've always like naturally daydreamed. I've always done that and come up with stories in my head, and they've always been romances. So I'm not saying that I couldn't write a thriller, or I probably couldn't write a fantasy, like terrifies me, honestly, like coming up with an entire world. But I'm not saying that I couldn't write another genre. It's just that the ideas that come to me, they're romance. That is, it's just naturally what my ideas are and what I love to write. As for when did I know I wanted to be a writer, I don't really know. I kind of sort of fell into it a little bit. I think there are people who just are like, yes, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to work towards from a very early age. And then I don't know. I never really saw it as a career, I suppose. I wrote some children's picture books when my oldest son was very little, and for him. And then I wrote a romance basically because I read this ridiculous article which talked about how easy it was to write a romance and how anybody could do it. And it was completely formulaic. And me and being very awkward, I was like, don't be so ridiculous. It's not going to be easy. I've read lots of these things, and it's not going to be easy. I will prove it. And so I went ahead and wrote a book, which was The Greenhouse of Home, which ended up being the first book that I originally self-published, and then it was taken on by a publisher. So there wasn't really a point where before I had a book published, if you like, that I was thinking, right, I want a career as a writer, and this is how I'm going to go about it. It was very much after I had that first book out, and I wrote a second book, and it was and I got a traditional publishing deal. Then it was like, oh, okay, like I'm a writer. Like how do I do this? Like what are the logistics of how you are a real writer, if you like?
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah. What about you? Did you always know? I have a
Oh,
feeling that you always knew.
well, so for one, I didn't start in romance. I'm a romance writer now. That's my sweet spot. I like romance. Like you, like I've always read romance. It's always been like my go-to comfort read sort of thing, different types of romance. I'm not too big on the historical romance because I feel like it's kind of more history reading than romance reading, but it's okay. So I want to say I was like 14, 15 years old. I read Flowers in the Attic by V.C. Andrews way too many times. And
oh my God, Flowers in the Attic. Okay, I think everybody our age was just traumatized by that book. We should not have been allowed to read that book. Yeah.
So I read the book and I was like, wow, this person made this up and sold a lot of books and made a lot of money. My life is really crappy and my parents have made crappy life decisions, not as horrible as this one. So I'm going to write my own story and make a lot of money. Spoiler, that didn't happen. Like I wrote the 3 books and then I was like, well, that was really cathartic and I got it out and it's good and great. But I need to write about something less horribly sad. And so then my middle daughter was like, hey, mom, you know what you should do? You should write a book about how you and stepdad met on a blind date. And so I took aspects of that funny blind date and I put it into my first romance novel. And then I got to be around like 50, 60,000 words. I'm like, I'm going to end this. And then it spiraled into a very long series. I say long because there's like 6 books in the first one. And then I have like other towns in the area. So there's couples there. So, and then at first I was like, I just want to be a published author. And then I was like, I want to be a paid published author. And now my dream at some point between now and the time that I die is to be a well enough paid author that I can go to a nice dinner and not check the bank account before I pay the bill. So once I get to that point, that I'll be like, I'm good. I've kind of done what you've been doing. I've put myself out there. I've been looking for like free or low cost vendor events. And in my town where I'm at in Texas, it's called Second Saturday Sip and Shop. And so there's like the downtown businesses open up the doors. They stay open a little bit later and they have vendor spaces for like people to do arts and crafts or sell their wares or whatnot. And they usually offer like a snack and a drink. And the first one was in February. I sold like 6 books on that one. March was really dead, but it was like at the end of spring break. And then April, it rained all day long. So nobody wanted to come out. And then May, which is this Saturday, it's called like Wine Up Whiskey Down. So they're going to have a lot of like adult beverages around. So I'm like, babe. And so I'm just going to sell all my books for one flat rate. So it'll be easy peasy. Like I don't do math or anything like that. Just $10 a piece, get it out the door. And then I'll, but yeah, that's been really hard to like, what's my elevator spiel when someone's like, oh, what are your books about? Like how, because I've tried doing like,
that's the worst, isn't it? What's your book about? I don't know.
I'm like, well, they're small town romances. Okay, well, tell me more about them. Like, well, this has this trope and this has that trope. And then I lose them halfway through. So now, like, I usually say something like, if you like Hallmark movies, you'll like my books because, like the movies, there's no sex scenes on the page or there's no naked scenes on the page or something like that. And most of the time, I feel like, oh, that's cool. I had one grown adult male who was there with this family was like, you should like rewrite them, put all the spicy scenes in, they'll really sell. I'm like, that was the most awkward, bizarre, like comment I got. Because he was like a 50-something-year-old man with his family there. So that was weird. I was like, thanks.
And did he actually know anything about publishing?
Right.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's that. So I've always liked writing. I've liked reading. So it kind of just goes hand in hand. My son was appalled to find out that all the time I was spending typing on the computer, I wasn't being paid for. I was like, no, I don't get paid for my writing until someone buys my complete work.
Yeah.
Like, so, but that was like several years ago, but it was very cute.
Mhm.
Um, yes. Okay, so my next question is, who has been your biggest literary influences? I don't have an answer for this because I never know the answer, so I'm not answering, but you can if you'd like.
But that's what I mean. You can't give me a question
I
that
just,
you don't
I
know
just,
the answer to.
uh,
That is
I don't
so
think
mean.
I don't think I have a literary influence. Like there's been authors I've like watched interviews or listened to, and
Mm.
they have advice, or they say, so Brandon Sanderson, I watch all his lectures online all the
Mhm.
time, and one of the things he says is that, okay, this is all the writing advice I would give to anyone. And please ignore half of it because it's not going to apply to you. Like
Mhm.
just take what
Yeah.
you can use and run with it.
Yeah.
Like not everyone's going to want to build like a whole complex world. Not everyone's going to want to outline very, very detailed. Not everyone's going
Mhm.
to like Stephen King says, don't write anything in a notebook because it's the writer's graveyard. Some people say like only write in the morning or only write at night. Like just do
Mhm.
what you want. So that's, but I don't
Yeah.
think like anything has influenced the way that I write or how I write.
Or at least that you haven't noticed, because I'm sure that we are influenced by the books that we read, especially if there are authors that we especially like. You
Yes,
know, like Sophie Kinsella is an author that I really enjoyed. I think I've probably read everything that she's written. So I wonder, she has like a lot of comedy in her books. I wonder if some of that has kind of influenced the funny bits
maybe.
in my books.
So I was reading um Kennedy Fox books like before I
Mhm.
even like interacted with either one of the co-authors online,
Right.
like for the longest time. And then I started like participating in the live streams on the Courtney Project's YouTube channel, and that
Right.
is one of the co-writers of that
Right.
or of that of the author. But since then, they have split their ways, and now she's writing on her own underneath Lyra Parrish. And
Mhm.
so, like, after they split up, I read books by both of them, but
Mhm.
Lyra Parrish's books are more my tea than the other ones. So
Yeah.
that's about it, really. But I like that I was able to deep dive into their writing before I interacted with them in online anyway.
Mhm.
'Cause I feel like, honestly, I feel like if I'd never interacted with you, I probably wouldn't have read the 3 books of yours I've read. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you definitely get exposed to more types of books the more you interact with the author community,
Yeah,
and
completely. Yeah.
so which makes sense, like, it's fine, like, I don't expect everyone that interacts with me online, like, "Oh, you could have a book out? I'm gonna read that book right away." Like,
Mhm.
that's not like, not everyone's gonna like my type of book, and it's okay. Not
Mhm.
everyone's gonna like my type of writing, and that's okay.
Yeah,
So,
it's not going to be for everybody, and the key is finding those people who are going to be your readers. And it is so lovely when you make a connection with another writer and it happens that they do like the kind of thing that you write. Like
right.
it's really, really lovely from a fellow professional, if you like, to hear that they've read and enjoyed your book.
One of the things I like about your books is that I've never left the US, okay, for one thing.
Mhm.
So, like, I feel like the way that you don't you don't deep dive and, like, describe the color of the pigment for 3 pages like Tolkien
Mhm.
did with his trees.
Tolkien did love his trees. That
Right,
was a whole
right.
thing that maybe needed to be looked into at the time, honestly.
I heard that his editor or publisher or whatever was like, "Hey, you could tone it down about the trees." So he's like, "Yeah, watch this," and then he
Like,
added
no.
Um, but like I appreciate how I can kind of imagine myself in the settings of your
Mhm.
books. Just the way that you describe the people, how they talk is different than here, like the word
Right.
choices, the vocab. So you're definitely a UK writer and you use UK spellings and UK
Yes.
words for things, which
Yeah.
I'm used to that. That doesn't trip me up or anything, but
Mhm.
it doesn't pull me out of the story. Be
Mhm.
but like because of the setting it was in. If it was in London and you used Americanized spellings of, let's say, theater, or
Mhm.
you used like stroller instead of buggy, I believe, or grocery cart instead of
Yeah.
buggy. Okay, yes, that's what it was. Sorry, I already mixed
Yeah,
it up,
no,
mixed it up. But like,
that
if
is something that is important to me because, you know, I'm a British writer and most of my books are set in the UK in small towns like your own books. And with my publishers, they have their like house rules, if you like, for spellings and things like that. And I actually said when they were editing my first book with them, I said, look, I'm not happy to have, you know, the Americanized spellings and things because it just doesn't fit.
right, because it's a UK setting with Americanized spellings. That would,
exactly.
as a reader, that would pull me out of the book, out of it.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait.
it just doesn't fit, and because, you know, they really are so British in that they are set, you know, little towns or the British countryside. There's a lot of tea drinking, really an excessive amount of tea drinking.
There's a lot of coffee drinking in mine, so like
yeah,
there's different things, and I just feel like it makes it more authentic overall, like the feeling, the setting of the book.
It makes it, you know, it's your book. So I actually have a separate set of rules that editors need to use for Emma Bennet books that are different to everybody else who are signed with my publishers, and that is what is used for my books. And I do think that's important, that you stay true to your author voice, if you like, and that is part of my author voice.
Exactly. It'd be like if you're reading historical romance and they're like, let's go to lunch and have a soda or whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
exactly,
or something more
yeah.
drastic than that. So that was the only thing that came up. So I feel like the genre, the year, the setting of the book, it all ties together. And I just feel like you do that really well. So
thank you.
Whatever you've been reading has been helping you. Let's see here. How do you develop the chemistry between your main characters? Like, do you have a process? Do you like how do you do that? Or does it just come up as you're drafting?
Yeah, it usually just comes when I'm drafting. The first thing that usually comes to me is the heroine. I'll generally come up with an idea for a heroine, and the story builds itself around her. In the case of my latest book, which is that one, Happily a New Start, there we go, A New Start at the Happily Ever After bookshop. That was actually the bookshop idea that came to me first, the idea of somebody coming and running this gorgeous bookshop over the summer. And then my heroine came, and then is where the hero comes. So I guess I need to already know a fair amount about my heroine before my mind can come up with her perfect match. I suppose you could look at it like that. And then, yeah, it's the various, obviously it's the various interactions and things that they have where I can showcase exactly why they are meant to be together, and just making sure very early that I understand all the reasons that they might struggle to be together, all of those internal reasons and the external ones as well. But something that I have found is that I did think that I was a plotter, at least, you know, to some degree, but it turns out I'm not. And it seems almost every book I'll get to around the 15,000 word mark and I kind of get stuck. And that's the point. You know, the hero and the heroine, they're, you know, they're going on their journey to each other. And I know where they're going to end up, because they have to end up together. And I usually know the end scene.
Yeah.
But it's that point. So what I have been doing with my latest book, which is that book behind me, is the first in the series, and the book that I'm drafting at the moment is the third in the series. And I have been using my friend Thomas J. Beleza. He has a YouTube channel, and I've been using his 27 plot point outline method to try to get around that. So a lot of that with a romance will be making sure that that romance arc is absolutely perfect, that it has the ups and downs that we love, and that the reader really, really believes that these characters have to be together, and that there are certain things that they need to get over before they can be. So yeah, it kind of goes against my nature, if you like, because I'm not very good at being told what to do, but I think it is helping. I think it is making this book easier to draft, honestly.
Okay. So you kind of like answered that question, and the next two questions kind of rolled into one. Because the
Yay!
next question was like, do you plot out everything in advance, or do you
There
let
we
the story
go.
surprise you? And then the next one after that, what comes first for you? Characters, conflict, or the love story? So
Look
I
at
feel like
me.
you kind
How
of
good am I? I'm the
that was
best at
great.
being interviewed. 3
Yes,
questions in
exactly.
one. Amazing.
So I've always dreamed, and this is fantasy dream of mine, that I will write a standalone romance. It'll never be evolved in a series, but apparently I don't know how to do that. And so, usually, so like my first book, my first book in the romance series is a longer book, but originally it was like 2 separate books. But it was
Mhm.
at the end of the first book, there was a wedding proposal, and in the second book, there was a baby, I think, or something.
Mhm.
I don't remember. It's been so long ago, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't remember all
I
the
know
details.
some people expect you to remember. Okay,
Like,
and it's like, I don't know. I
no,
wrote this a
I
long
don't
time
remember. Like,
ago.
you tell me what it says, and I'll
Yeah,
comment on that.
you tell me. Because I don't remember. Yeah. No,
Don't
completely.
remember.
Completely. Yeah.
So like, so this when it's a series, and now I know I just write series, so I'm just rolling with it. About halfway through the book, of writing the book, I've already decided in my head what the story, who the next couple is going to be, or who the
Yeah.
next main character is going to be for the next book.
Mhm.
And then I just kind of like let the reader know by like more interaction on the page or whatnot.
Mhm.
That's what's going to happen is the next one. But usually about 10 to 15,000 words in, I get to the point of like saying, this is horrible. I hate this. I don't know why I decided to write. I'm done with writing. This is ridiculous. I don't know what
Yeah,
I'm
this is
doing.
like this is the worst story that anyone has ever tried to write. There is no story here.
I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
doing. I know where it's
Mhm.
going to end, but how do I get from there to here? And it's usually what a lot of people in like the room, the Save the Cat, John writing book, the
Mhm.
like the fun and games section, like what's
Yeah.
fun for the reader to read, but not fun for the characters to go through type stuff.
Mhm.
And so, but yeah, so I'm not an outliner, really. I'll come up with the characters, and then I'll come up with like something that is standing in their way. So, like one of my stories is a new girl comes to town, and everyone warns her stay away from this boy, and the boy is really the jerk of the town. But by the end of the book, he's like he hasn't like complete 180, but he realizes he's being a jerk, and so things are he's
Mhm.
like fixed the hole in his heart type thing.
Mhm.
And the title didn't even come to me until I was filling out the information on Amazon to upload. I'm like, I don't know, change of heart. That sounds good. Like I don't know. Titles are hard. But
Titles
yeah,
are hard.
so usually when I get about 10, 15,000 words in, I'll like jabber about it to the kids or like to other people. And then I'll be like, ooh, that sounds good. And so then I'll do like 3 to 5 bullet points per chapter. I'm like, these are the things I want to happen. Kind of like a
Mhm.
small paragraph summary or whatnot. And then I just write the next few chapters. And usually when I get about 4 chapters past that, I'm like, okay, this is good. I'll continue writing.
Yeah,
I guess I don't suck as a writer.
yeah, you've got a bit of momentum up again. You know what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
But series are hard. This, I'm writing my first series at the moment,
I don't
and
recommend
I'm
it.
like,
It's not I because I'm always and I've decided my series going forward, I will never have a kid involved. Like I like single parent romance, it's great, whatever.
mhm.
But what are you gonna do with the kid like all the time? You have to remember there's a kid in the mix. Like
Yeah,
what are they
yes,
doing? Like
you
are they at
do.
school with a
Yeah.
friend or whatever? That was a hard one to deal with. Like how
Mhm.
do you incorporate it all and then make sure you're like, oh wait, this character went to this town and they never came back, or like why is this character in the town anymore, and like whatever, like it's just hard.
Mhm.
Series is hard. I really enjoy, I really um I'm really in awe of authors that have like 20, 30, 40 books in the same series.
They do.
Like
They're
some
all
of them, like okay, so JD Robb, Nora Robber writes under JD Robb, and
right.
JD Robb, she her books are set in futuristic New York, and it's a girl detective in like 2038 or something. I don't know, 22, and it's futuristic, and uh, they I like her titles because they're all like in death, like abandoned in death, colored in death, I don't know, plain whatever. They're all in death, and so I was like, oh, that's really nice because you kind of know they're all part of the series, and she said that it's going to end when the detective finally gets pregnant, but that's how it's going to end. But she hasn't ended it yet, and there's like
Right.
60 something books. Like I don't even know. Like haven't read half of them, but I just envy people who do that. That can do
Yeah.
that well, and it's not like the same story repeated over and over again. But in
Yeah,
like
I mean, I guess if it's like detective stories, then that's
that's
quite
easy,
nice. Yeah, because you don't have like with Sherlock Holmes, you don't have like Holmes
this
has like a flat character arc. Yeah, so you kind of you know how he's going to act, and he doesn't need to, you know, particularly develop in each story. So you're just using that character that you already know, you
right.
know, and you can bring other people into it. I don't know. The timings and things are what gets me. I've got lists of like this happens on this day and this year, and then you know the next book has got to be this many months after it. So you know this person is this old, this person is this old, this person is you know this
Right.
person's gone off to university, blah blah blah. You know.
So I do have a unknown publishing date for this 6-book series. I don't know what's wrong with me. 6-book series, and it's set in West Texas, and there's like a barbecuing industry family and a cattle ranch family, and they are living in the same tiny town in
Right.
West Texas, which is like desolate, like hundreds of miles between towns. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so and there's like this fence line that may or may not be the right fence line between their properties, this whole thing, and both families, they're one of them is the mom is still alive and the dad's still alive, and all their adult kids are like coming home for one reason or the other, and some will get together, some will get together with strangers that come to town or whatnot, but there's definitely a I have written down in a notebook and on my computer file like where the books like this one is from like August to May, and then this one
Yeah.
is here, and book 3 actually overlaps with book 1, and it's very I was like, that was exhausting to do. I don't want to do that again. That was exhausting to do. But I did look up on Amazon. I saw that you have a bunch of books just like under. So like I have a series named like Tales with the Heart, I think. Yeah, and there's like 6 books under there. But yours, all of your standalone cozy romances are just under cozy romances, and it also says like not they're standalone, not connected. Do they have any like characters
No,
related?
no, they don't.
Nothing.
That was just something that my publisher did.
Okay,
Yeah,
but they're all like
they
they're
decided
all
to.
cozy romances.
They're all cozy romances, but they're all standalone. Sometimes I have done a couple of like, he's a chef from a novella that I wrote, which he appears in a later book. A little bit. Is that the only one? I think that I feel that there's another one. So yeah, I have had like appearances from some of my characters in other books, but no, they're not actually connected. They're all standalones.
So you're writing a series now, right? So
Yeah.
how do you feel? Do you feel like you're going to want to continue writing in series, or do you prefer standalones?
I do. Okay, so I love the concept of the series, and in theory, the series, and presumably I will get better at the organization part of it, like the more that I do. But it was a little bit of a shock to the system writing the second series, because it's like, okay, I need to like introduce everyone again, you know, but not too much, because you don't want readers who've read the first book, you know, to
Right.
be bored because they're hearing the same thing. But new readers need to know all about the characters, and just making sure that everything's accurate, making sure that you remember what hair color and eye color people had. How old people are is like another big thing, when their birthdays are.
I wrote 3
like
books and I was like, well, I need like another love story, but like these people are already connected to each other. Oh, I know, I'll have a new family move to town.
Brilliant.
And so that way, like when the new person is going around and getting lay of the land and getting introduced to people, it's not like I'm info dumping for the reader, because the character needs to find out about these people and like the places.
Sure.
And like what the seasonal activities are and stuff like that, but in like a valid, natural way, not like pages and pages of it. So there's that. So it can be done, but which do you prefer, standalone or series? What do you think?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet.
Ask me when I finished writing this series. Ask me, because I have an idea for another series is the problem. So I'm hoping that I like writing the series, because like I say, I have another idea for one that works really well.
Can you share how many books will be in this series, or is that still under lock and key?
So this series at the moment, my contract is for 4 books, but there is an option to do another 2 potentially if the series does well. So awesome. The next one's coming out for Christmas, and then there'll be one next spring, and then one for Christmas. So okay. I guess my publisher and I will probably decide like early next year, how things are going, whether I want to move on to a new series or a standalone. I actually have a standalone that I need to finish writing as well, or whether I do want to continue with a couple more books in this series, because there are extra characters that could have their own story.
Because you never know when you're like, oh, there's this random character I had like an interaction for like half a page, and then some random reader is like, hey, what happened to that random person at the bus stop or whatever, or on the subway or what?
Exactly. Well, I'm just reading at the moment. I'm reading, I think it's book 6 in the is it the gingerbread coffee shop?
Oh, the one like
it's Harbor something is the town, and is it Laurie Graham is the author, and they're hugely popular. No, that's it. I'm reading number 5. Number 6 is set in a flower shop, and there's a woman called Daisy running it, and I'm sure that Daisy has only just appeared in book 5. I'm sure
it's doable.
Completely doable. But I kind of saw at the end of the book, I always go to the end, that the next book was going to be in this flower shop, and it was Daisy, and I was like, who's Daisy? And then she turned up in this book, like doing some flowers, and I was like, oh, and it did make me think, oh, okay, so you can kind of, but even though she's supposed to have been in the town the whole time.
So like in my first book, there's like 3 or 4 girls, 3 or 4 boys, or something like that. They weren't all paired together, but I think book 3 or story, I'm going to say story 3 was a single parent romance, and it happened to be like she's running into work and there's someone late, and then it's someone that's at the like the principal of the school or something like that. And so you never had a reason to interact as a reader for the principal, because there was the single parent wasn't the main character in the first 2 books, that sort of thing. So that makes sense. And honestly, like my first 3 books were all set in one town, and I realized I didn't have a library in my town. So and the next book was in a brand new town, the next town over.
With a library.
With a library, yes. I solved that problem right there. Let's see. Here's one. How do you feel romance is evolving, and where do you see it heading? Like romance as a genre. What are your thoughts and feelings about how you see it heading? What do you think? Like, is that's a pretty open-ended question.
It is. I think publishing has just changed such a huge, unimaginable amount in the last, I suppose you could say, decade. And what's wonderful about romance readers is that they are such voracious readers, and they are willing to try new things and to branch out. They were the first readers to take on e-readers, and for example, because they just read so many books, and it was great to be able to have them that bit cheaper and so accessible. Obviously, we've seen this huge rise in romantasy, which does seem to be dying back a little bit now. I'm wondering, I feel maybe the spice will also calm down, because that just seemed to go crazy.
Yeah, I feel like the spice in romance kind of spread out into other romance genres. Like, I understand, adult has romance, whatever, but then I feel like a lot of the young adult titles where it's getting more like spicy romance in it as a way to like bring more readers to the young adult. I feel like maybe it was a way to like try to get more sales and readers to the young adult genre. And so a lot of adults are reading young adult, which is fine, like read what you want, but just because an adult reader is reading a young adult book doesn't mean to be writing about teenagers having sex on the page, that sort of thing. So yeah, I feel like there's a giant spike in romance and spicy romance and things like that, and then I just feel like hopefully it's starting to calm down, but then we got the whole like, I just feel like there's always some drama happening in romance books in the field of that.
Exactly. And obviously, like, TikTok has also had a huge influence on the romance market as well. I'm wondering whether that will continue, or whether, again, if that was just one of these things that kind of went crazy for a while and is going to calm down. There does seem to be a real rise for people wanting very cozy, safe stories. So what I think might happen is more kind of cozy mystery romance. I think a combination of those would
that makes sense.
It's possible to kind of take off in a while, because cozy mysteries have been very, very popular.
I feel like cozy mystery and cozy things have always been popular in its own, like, I feel like they've always been popular. They've never done it.
They have. I just kind of think that people seem to need them more now, as opposed to before. It was just like, oh, I like to read a nice, gentle story, if you like. People seem to be craving them now, and so that would be my prediction. Is that the spice levels will go down, and like cozy romantic mysteries is what I'm anticipating.
I can agree on that. I feel like that's a valid theory about what's going to be happening. I feel like the world is just so crazy. You see and hear about all these crazy stories happening in the world with the news and with relationships and things like that. You don't want to have to like relive all that drama all the time in your book. So like cozy mysteries, cozy romances, cozy anything really is going to be like, I think is going to slowly start making a comeback. I mean, you've kind of seen it, like YA, no spice fantasy books have been picking up a lot too.
They have.
So I haven't read all of your titles. Are they all like cozy closed door romances? Are there
like, things go on, but behind the doors in general.
Awesome. Yeah, that's me too. They're all
we're realistic.
You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we know.
And
but
they wake up the next day and they're like they're having adult conversations about what transpired or didn't transpire or whatnot. And like, obviously, if they wake up in bed together the next morning, you know what happened, but it's not described on the page.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. Also, a next question I got for you is, are any of your characters inspired by real people in your life?
Yeah, sometimes.
Like, are they like the villains in your story? Or
no, I don't
like a villain.
I really tend to have villains. Yeah. So I do get inspired, like most writers do, I think, by just things that I see and hear, and I have a notebook that I write things down. Sometimes it can be quite inopportune moments. That I'll get inspiration, and then as soon as I'm home, I'll like kind of write it down. So there was one time I was I was at a dinner thing, and I was sat next to this woman who I hadn't met before, and we were chatting, getting along really well. And she was telling me the story of how she met her husband, and she was engaged to another man, and she was working in a kitchen, and she fell in love with a man who worked in the kitchens, and ended up calling off her wedding and things in quite a dramatic way. Anyway, I was inspired by this, and that became a novella, which I sent to her, and I said, look, I've done this. If you are not comfortable with it, please let me know, and I will not put it out into the world. It's not obvious that it's them at all. Obviously, it's very fictionalized. Not just the names have been changed, but like lots of it. But it was based on your story. So if you're not comfortable. And she was like, yeah, absolutely. This is amazing. Fantastic. So that was really sweet.
Awesome.
The inspiration that I've got for a new series, that was actually coming from somebody that I met a few weeks ago, and I was talking to him for ages. And yeah, completely inspired. A lot of him will be in the main character for the first book of that series. So yeah, definitely not all of them. Most of them are completely fiction, but things that people have said or done, they will end up in there if you're not careful.
So I know you have kids. Are you still married?
Yes.
Okay, so I wasn't sure, like, you didn't really specify one or the other, and it's totally fine, like, whatever's your vibe. Do you find yourself, like, writing aspects of relationship with your husband, or, like, things your husband may have said or did, and, like, putting it into the books? So
no, not really, because like I say, it is, obviously, like, it's fiction. It's fiction,
yes.
and these are completely different characters.
Right. But has there been,
and,
like,
and there were a lot of them as well.
Has he, like, done anything like, ooh, I like that saying, or I like how you said that, or that really irked me? That's
write that down. Everybody does. Everybody does. Everybody has things that I think, oh, that's really good. I should write that down.
Okay. Well, as you know, my first romance book features characters that are kind of like have behavioral characteristics of myself. Like the main character in my first book, she's very dramatic and like take things to heart and overreacts to things. And her eventual husband is a double amputee, and my husband, my soon-to-be ex-husband, is one. But like, there's things that happen on our blind date where that was funny, and I put that in the book. But other than that, it's just like total fiction. Like, sure. And and then you hear
we all get inspired by little things in our lives, don't we? And little elements of that will go into our books, I suppose, sprinkled in.
Right. And so no one's been like, hey, you wrote about me or anything. No one said that to you so far? No. Cool. Yeah. None of, like, one of my books, one of the characters just has a string of like bad luck with like ex-girlfriends and things, and to the extreme. And I just kind of took bits and pieces of other people's crazy stories and kind of like mixed it all together.
Sure.
Like, it isn't like, oh, you told me about this person, so that's this person's book. Like, no, like aspects of this and aspects of that. And I just kind of like make it up from there. So, what is the most romantic thing you have experienced or witnessed?
Oh, I don't know. That's so hard. That is such a difficult question. I was
actually my original question for this one, I was gonna say, like, since you're a romance writer, do you feel like your proposal was romantic? Would you want to share your proposal story? But I went with this one instead.
Okay. Yeah, no, I honestly, I don't know. I suppose I do have the ability to see things and to make them more romantic, to use them in a story, even if what I'm actually seeing isn't that romantic, if that makes sense. Like, I was in a library once being given a tour, and I think it was about 4 stories up or something, but it had these enormous windows looking out over the sea. And the person who was giving the tour said that when it was Guy Fawkes night and fireworks were going up, he'd come up there and he'd watch the fireworks from this huge window and how amazing it had looked. So straight away, I'm there in the middle of this tour going, oh my goodness, that's fantastic. Can you imagine that scene? Can you imagine that scene of a guy bringing a girl up to watch these fireworks together? You know, looking out over the sea. And I was just desperate to grab a notebook or grab my phone and write these notes down. So half of the time it's kind of, I think it's having that romantic writer imagination to be able to put a spin on things, even if there's just an element of romance in them, that you can make them into something more.
Yeah, I mean, I see things like, oh, that's cute, or is that's so sweet. Like he opened the door, like he like shared the umbrella with her, you know, cute romantic
Yeah,
gesture.
that's so cute, isn't
But
it?
I wouldn't be like, oh, that's the most romantic thing I've ever seen ever. So
but the thing is, like, what's romantic for one person might not be romantic for another, and it has to be what's right for your characters when you're putting it into a story, doesn't it?
Right, exactly.
You know,
So,
like in the Happily Ever After bookshop, my heroine, she's lost her copy of Little Women. It was her favorite book, and she was given it by her aunt, and it got lost somehow. And the hero is a bookbinder, and he tracks down the same edition that she had when she was little and gives it to her. Now, somebody who doesn't really care about books might be like, okay, that's fine. But it means something else to people who care about books, but especially to that character.
right, exactly. You know, I was just watching a show a few weeks ago, and it was their first Valentine's together in the show, and they're trying to figure out presents, and the guy wanted to get her like some expensive Korean like skincare routine, but it didn't come through in time. So then he's trying to like find her something, and he can't really find her anything, but she ends up finding the diamond necklace that he got her, and she's like, he goes, that wasn't even your present, that was my fallback, and she goes, it's fine, look, it matches my bracelet or whatever. And she got him a baseball, but she hid it after she'd been drinking tequila or something, and she forgot where she hid it. So then she was trying to find something else. So she talked to his sister, and she got him a first edition book of this like science fiction book that he read a lot when he was a kid going through tough times, and it was signed by the author. And so I thought that was really sweet. But again, like I found that sweet because, well, I'm invested in the character, but also because like it's a book. So I feel like if, as a writer or a reader, if you take the time to find out someone's preference and then go to like find that book for them, but like
that's really special.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas people who are not into books, like I had somebody say to me once, you know, not everybody wants a book for a present. I was like, what? Well,
that's my go-to thing
to say. There's a perfect book for everyone.
Just gotta find it.
They're not real readers. There's a perfect book for everyone. Stop being ridiculous.
Right. All right. So you already said that you're reading book number 5 of the bookshop series. I'm gonna call it the bookshop series. I don't know what it's called.
No, it's called
the first one was like the gingerbread
spiced gingerbread latte coffee shop or something like that. It's good. I'm also reading a biography of Agatha Christie as well, which I'm really, really enjoying.
I found out something about her last year or so, and I'm going to share with you, and you tell me if you know this already.
I bet I already do, because I'm a huge fan. Go on.
That neurologists study her writing from her beginning of her writing career to the end, because she, I believe, was developing early dementia, and they wanted to see how her writing changed over time.
I do not know this.
Either early dementia or started to get Alzheimer's, one of the two, like one of those type of neurological diseases. And so, see, you're welcome. I taught you something today.
There you go. You did.
So, yeah. What is the name of that book? It's like Gingerbread Bakery. Is that the first one in the series?
What's going to drive us mad. It's the the pumpkin spice cafe. There we go. It's not gingerbread. I'm thinking gingerbread because the one I'm reading at the moment is like the gingerbread bakery.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
it's
So
the pumpkin
the
spice.
pumpkin cafe, the pumpkin spice cafe. So that's right. I did start reading that, but I don't think it was the right time for me to reading the story because I was reading a lot of fantasy, and then I switched to that, and I was like, no, and then I stopped. No,
It's just not right.
I would call it like a soft DNF because I'm not ever gonna finish it. It's more of a I'm gonna come back to it when I'm in the
not the right time now, and maybe you'll binge the whole series at some point.
Yes, I'm definitely of like let's get the next one and like read it all. I'm kind of like a TV series. I'll just binge watch a bunch.
Yes, I much prefer to do it like that. It's awful when you watch one season and then you have to wait a year for the next season, and you're like, well, I'm kind of over it now. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I've kind of forgotten it. I'm not going to watch the whole of the first season again to get into it. I'd much rather wait until it's all out and watch the whole thing.
I'm watching Supernatural from beginning to end because we watched like the first 3 seasons, and then I was like on YouTube or something, and I saw a short where it was a very short clip of what happens to one of the brothers. I'm like, nope, I'm done. I can't watch it anymore. Like I can't watch any more clips. I'm staying offline, and so I'm watching it. And I am not even like I'm not even looking at any of the synopsis for the seasons, the characters, or anything. Like I'm surprising. So me and the kids been watching a few episodes at night after dinner before they go to bed. We're partway through season 6 of 15. It's a long series, okay?
It's a long series. Well done. Well done. I like it.
Okay, so what is one piece of advice you give to aspiring romance writers in particular?
What I would say is know the genre as well as you can. Consume romance. Watch romantic movies, read romance books in all sorts of different subgenres, because it is a very, very, very beloved genre, and readers do have expectations.
Right.
So you can write whatever you want. This is what I tell my editing clients. You can write whatever you want. Yeah, it's your story. But if you want to sell that story either directly to readers or to a publisher or to an agent, you have to follow certain, not rules, but conventions, if you like. You have to have a happily ever after, for example. You want the hero and the heroine, or the heroine, hero, whatever. You want them to meet early on in the story. You need them to have obstacles to overcome. There are just all these things that you need to be aware of, and you need to understand how romance stories work. And that's probably the most useful thing that you can do, possibly even more than reading most writing craft books. It's just to really consume a lot of romantic stories.
Right, because I feel like there's been, I can't come up with any titles right now, but I feel like there's been like romance books or fantasy books or sci-fi that I've read. I'm like, well, this person is definitely not enjoying the way they're writing. It feels rushed. Like, I feel like if you're going to spend a lot of time in a particular genre and you're going to say, I'm a romance writer and I only write romance, you should be well versed in reading it. And so that way, like what is expected, not expected. Although, there's all like subgenres of babies or subgenres of romances and different plots of romance.
Of course there are, but sometimes I'm sent books to edit and they just don't fit.
Boy and girl, they meet. You see how they are, you see how she is, and then something forces them together, and then something forces them apart. And like, what is keeping them apart? It could be something outside or something inside them. Like, is it because they feel like they don't belong, or is it because the town tells them that you guys aren't right for each other? And then onward from there. But eventually, it's gonna be happily ever after. Because as my kids say, Romeo and Juliet is not a romance. They die in the end, Mom.
It's definitely not a romance. Do not get me started on Romeo and Juliet.
I find it not a romance at all. I just feel like be very knowledgeable in the genre that you want to read in. And if you don't know what you want to write in, then read a variety of genres and
Yeah,
tropes and
and
plots.
try writing a lot of different things and just see what you enjoy. Try writing in different POVs, in different
And
tenses, play around a bit. And that's really good
because
to do anyway, just to step outside of your comfort zone, even if you do know what you are good at and what you want to write.
because let's say you're like, I'm gonna write billionaire romance, and that's gonna be my thing, and you write it, and then by the time you're done writing, you're like, oh, this is not my thing. Just because you wrote it doesn't mean that anyone else has to ever read it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
just try, I feel like just try it out. I found a problem I had is I was reading so much romance and like reading all the different plot books, like Romance in the Beat and
That's a good
Save the
one.
Cat and Seven Figure Fiction, like a lot of different ones that when I was watching TV shows, I could be like, oh, that's that plot point in the TV show. So like, in the Save the Cat Writes novel, basically like you got a person, people don't like that person, but they have to do something like saving the cat in one of the 911 shows I was watching on TV is a new fire captain came and he literally saved the cat from a tree. So I found it funny because I just went like, there it is. It works in that instance too. But I just think no, I agree with you. Know your genre, know what readers expect, which is happily ever after, like literally. I don't know about you, but I feel like cheating is like kind of like not okay with most romance readers.
Yeah,
generally.
With most readers, it's not okay. What the biggest problem that I've found when I'm sent manuscripts to edit, if they just really don't hit the mark, is that what the writer's done is they're telling a story, but there is no conflict going on there. It's really just, this is how they met. La 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 la. At the end,
there's no like hurdles for them to jump on or jump around, or like
there's
no
reason.
Or
it's like, well, why can't they be together? In fact, they are together. Like there's nothing. Yeah, there's just nothing there that is keeping.
It's not going to make anyone to keep reading. It was just a boring. Like everything works out. There's no issues. There's no problems. Everything works out. Like that's not how that works.
It's not a satisfying story yet.
Right. I think we kind of touched base on this one. Like, what's your stance on the spice sells debate in romance? Do you feel cozy and closed door can sell just as well? What are your thoughts on that topic? But I feel like we talked about that earlier. Unless there's something else you want to add.
There's space for all of it. Like people should read what they want to read, and there's space for all of it. So
I don't think one particular type of romance is better or more important, or it all really depends on how it's written. If it's badly edited, badly formatted, then it's not going to sell well.
Sure.
But like there's a whole group of like people that want spice and people that don't want spice and fantasy, and like there's a book for everybody, a reader for everyone, and books make the best gifts, by the way. I will die on that hill.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely.
Right. And then is there a story or character you've been dreaming of writing but haven't tackled it yet?
Only this new series idea that's been a couple of weeks that's going on in my mind, but it's driving me a little bit bonkers because the first book in particular, it just won't leave me alone. And I'm like, you have to wait your turn. Okay? You have to wait your turn. I cannot write you at the moment. So you just got to hang on in there.
Right. So that comes up. That's all my questions that I have written down, but you made me think of a new one. So are you a one project at a time, one series at a time writer, or do you tend to jump around?
I do really struggle with trying to work on multiple books at the same time. I'm somebody who very much likes to focus on one thing and really get into it. And I do find it difficult because, for example, if I've got an editing job, then what I want to do is just focus solely on that. but then I'm not writing as much as I should be, and I'm just not very good. I can try to find the balance, but it doesn't really work. I much prefer to be working on one thing. At the moment, I'm having to work on more than one project at the same time, so I'm hoping that I get better at it. It's something that I've only had to do fairly recently, as in the last couple of years, really, as I've taken on more editing work and I'm writing more books, is where this problem's come. And so there's a lot going on at the moment, a lot of different projects, and they each need to have their attention, and I'm just not very good at it.
Okay. Let's see. So Emma is your author name, correct?
Yes.
Yes. How did you come up with that name?
I wanted something that felt like it would fit with romance. So it's Emma, as in Emma Woodhouse from Jane Austen's Emma, and then Bennet, as in Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. It's just a mixture of those two names.
I actually thought of a new pen name for myself. It's not like anything cool like your reasoning.
Is this like, this is a big moment? You're announcing this?
Yeah. So anyone who's watching this is a pen name that I am like 95% sure I will be using. I wanted a name that would, for like vanity's sake, I wanted a name that I could fit across the bottom of a book cover and not look cramped. Okay.
Yeah.
I also wanted a name that wasn't my own name, because I have a really common first name. A problem I have often with my books is a lot of readers think my books are Stephanie Grace Whitson's books, but underneath I have like another pen name type thing. She writes romance, but like Christian type romance stuff, which is fine. But everyone has their books, but I would like people to know my books are mine. So either A, I'm still going to use Stephanie, but use my maiden last name of Dockery, or the name that I created that has nothing to do with my name whatsoever. I watched all of the Planet of the Apes movies recently. And
sorry, you watched the Planet of the Apes movies, and this is where you got your name from as a romance writer. I love it.
And then and then I really like Doctor Who, the Doctor Who series. So the first name is Nova. And then the last name is Rivers.
Oh, like River Song.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yay. Okay. Great. So I am trying to decide if I want to do Nova Rivers that isn't attached to me, like it's my name, but like it'd be my books.
And it would fit, like you said, it would fit nicely on the book, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Or if I want to go to my legal family name.
Yeah.
So, fellow romance writer, what would you do?
I think that really depends on what you want to do.
I'm so indecisive. Oh my gosh, I'm so indecisive.
It's what you want to see on your books that's so important. So no one else can tell you.
All right. What do you think about the name though? The Nova Rivers.
Yeah, I like it. It's really cute. Rivers in particular, I like. Nova, I don't know if that says cozy romance to me.
Yeah.
Not that particularly matters, because plenty of people use their own names to write romance. But if you're thinking about a pen name as really working with the genre, maybe Nova doesn't quite fit with the kind of cozy small town vibe. But I don't think that's a problem.
Okay. So yes. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do like a short first and last name, like Nova Rivers, or potential. I had some other options for instead of Nova, but like I better come up with a better story than I was watching Planet of the Apes.
No, I love it. How did I come up with my romance pen name? Well, I was watching Planet of the Apes, and
so then I was telling the kids I thought of the name as an author, and then I binge watched all the Sharknado movies. Don't judge me. I binge watched all the Sharknado movies,
Mhm.
and there's this girl that like got attacked by sharks when she was little, and her name is also Nova, but that's not where I got the name from. I got it from the Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah.
But I do like your story about how you came up with your name. It's very much. It's much better.
No, it's not better at all. It's just different. It's just different.
But yeah, I like the name Rivers. But I feel like if I went with Nova Rivers, people might like. It's really similar to Nora, Nova and Nora.
Oh, okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? So that's the only concern there. But I also don't want a name that's like so far left field that people are like, what? How do you even spell that?
Sure.
You know what I mean? So,
I have enough trouble because of you said that you know somebody else who's Bennett and they spell it with 2 T's. So you had 2 T's
Yes.
originally on the
thumbnail,
on the thumbnail, yeah. And so many people do 2 T's, which is natural because you can spell it either way. But that wasn't something that I'd considered before.
Okay. Yeah.
So you do want something, I think, that has a definite spelling, if you like.
Yes, definitely. So, but yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take like this late spring, early summer, and just try to decide what I want to do. Like, do I want to go through the hassle of republishing 15 lovely books with a new name, or do I just want to start publishing books with a new name and have that new name going forward? You know what I mean? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hard to unpublish books and then like recover them and then publish them again. It's just time consuming.
It's time consuming, and also if people know you by a certain name,
right.
and they follow you for that name. You do need to send me though the covers so that I can see the color thing.
Yes, I will. I'll do that. Right now they're just like the ebook covers, but like it'll be like the same. My ideas will be the same. Like it'll be the same ombre colors around.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, question: do you feel like, as an author out there in authorland, do you feel like you do better with ebook sales or paperback sales?
Oh, definitely ebooks. My publisher is digital first, so my books are available as paperbacks, but it's definitely the ebooks that
Do you ever feel like, well, ebooks are the thing, so why bother with paperback?
No, because
maybe that's the wrong way to phrase it. Like, do you feel
I like paperbacks, and well, the thing is, it's not me bothering with them either.
Right? Yeah.
It's lovely to hold the paperback version of your book, and I much prefer reading physical books anyway, and it's amazing to see them in bookshops.
Exactly. Yes. Any other questions for you? Let's see.
You have grilled me. I've officially been grilled today.
Girl. Yeah, I was like, well, maybe these are too many questions or whatnot, but I feel like our conversation back and forth has been really good. I would be as great if you were like, if you wrote a different genre than me. I don't know if our conversation would be as like easy back and forth.
Yeah, we do have a lot in common, don't we?
So, let's see. Was there any questions I skipped over because I was too afraid to ask you? Let's see.
Too afraid?
I don't know. I think that was it, really.
We found out everything.
Yes. Okay. So I think that's about it. And so I do have the links to what you said was your favorite book, which is the Scottish Christmas, the cozy festive romance to curl up with the winter. And here, if anyone wants to see it, I'll put it in the comment, but also I'm going to be putting these things in the description box as soon as I finish up. And then I'll be putting your link tree in there as well, because I think that's, important. Also, like if I change my dang author name, I have to figure out changing everything else across the board.
Yeah.
So,
It's a
anyways,
lot.
yes, it is a lot. So I'm just deciding on that. But I just wanted to thank you for letting me grill you to my heart's content.
It was
And
fun.
yes, and so if you ever want to see how you do on film, you just watch this again,
Oh,
right?
no.
No, no. All right. Okay, so anyone who's watching this in replay, thanks for watching this all the way to the end. If you don't know who I am, my name is Stephanie. I write romance, but today I got to interview fellow UK author, romance author Emma Bennet, as we talked about everything romance and writing and everything in between. So thank you again. And do you have anything lined up for next month?
Yes, I do. I do. My call out was extremely good. So I am, I do have things lined up now.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Thank
So
you.
I think that's it. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys all later.